And I think you would have to use one form for every voter to be challenged one by one. And just to let you know, we did certify these signatures, and the method of certifying them, we have to go in, check their signatures, check their name, check their address, and check their voter status. And if they're pending, inactive, or active, they're approved. If they're inactive, obviously, they're not. So we've done that, and I did go back and I made copies. We did check, and we did it in a timely fashion. Sandra Ann Sheldon and James J. Sheldon were both certified on 7/8/14. And that means that the names on the nomination papers were checked, validated, put into the system, we put them into the database, they go to the Secretary of State's website, and then after we do it, we also sign off on the back, and all three of us did sign off on it. So, unless you can tell us something different about how you think we should proceed, or why you think we should check the nomination papers, I feel as though we've already done that. And if you don't feel as though we've done that, I think the method, the form that you file doesn't suffice for voter registrations. This is voter registration, and you're objecting to a candidate, for candidacy. I don't know if you agree. Do you agree? Or you have anything to add?
I would have to get a copy of that form and go through the names.
And I did, when I found this, I did call voter elections really quick, and the law has not changed. This goes back to '95. Found the file cabinet, and I was looking for some other laws, and this goes back to June 1995. It's a Board of Elections. If this was adopted by the Board of Elections, June 20th, 1995, I called and they said that it's still in place, and nothing has superseded it.
Can I approach and do some evidence?
Please?
Can I approach and do some evidence?
Yes.
To the board?
Yes.
Make a statement?
Yes.
Rosa Parks. Here we go.
If I just set myself here?
I think that'll be okay.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for convening this meeting. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
You have an objection, Mr. Sheldon?
I have a question, and it may lead to an objection.
Go ahead.
The question is anything in that file new?
Yes, sir.
If none of it's new,
Well, just like we did with Mr. Bowden, we have to wait and hear. We don't know.
all right.
It may be. There may be things new with you, with this, with all of it. We don't know. We have to sit and listen. Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Wilson.
Okay. I'd first like to commend the Sheldons for their desire for civic engagement. It's a great challenge and a great responsibility to be a candidate, and even greater responsibility if one is actually elected to office. So I commend them for their intent to declare their candidacy. The only problem is that they've declared in the wrong town. They've declared in the wrong state. This is a simple case of where the Sheldons live. So I have for you a map that is from the town hall in Killingly, Connecticut, that indicates the location of the Sheldon's house. You can see their name is at the bottom. This is from the Killingly Town Hall. Their lot is lot number 9. And on this particular map, the vertical dashed line indicates the state line. You can see that the property that is owned by the Sheldons, in fact, the property is owned by all of the individuals on this map, is split between the two states. So there is some property in Rhode Island, and there is some property in Connecticut. But this map clearly shows that the Sheldons' home is in Connecticut. Lot number 9, the home is clearly 100% entirely within the state of Connecticut. If you look further down the map, lot number 7 is bisected, but that home and that individual clearly lives in the state of Rhode Island. So the individual in lot number 7, I would have no objection to, but the individuals in lot 8, 9, 10, and 11 are all Connecticut residents.
Mr. Lewis, why don't I show these, Mr. Sheldon's home in Rhode Island?
Excuse me?
Where's the land in Rhode Island?
You can see the property line is there, the dotted line is the state line.
So I have a dotted line on 7 too.
This vertical dashed line is the state line.
Yeah.
The property is this. So this front portion of the property is in the town of Foster. The rear portion, including the entire home, is in the state of Connecticut.
Right, I thought you said you didn't have a problem with 7.
7, the entire home, now this outlook, you can see the dotted line there of the home.
What is this dotted line?
That's the property line.
So, in Rhode Island.
Yes,
There is some in Rhode Island, 7 as well.
correct.
Okay.
For all of them, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
All of them are registered.
Okay, the difference is, the entire house located at lot number 7, they are Foster residents. Lot number 9, where the Sheldons live, they are Connecticut residents. That's where their home is, that's where they sleep, that's where they live. This is not a dispute of fact. The Sheldons live in the state of Connecticut. I know that, you know that, they know that, the town of Killenly knows that, the town of Killenly taxes their home. This is not a dispute in fact. The second page you have also shows you the property record of their home from the town of Killenly Assessors Database. And you can see that there are 2 different addresses. At the first address, it would be, you see a horizontal line, then it says search, reset, and then underneath that there are boxes that say they are Cucumber Hill Road, number 31. And that is their address in the town of Connecticut. That's where their house is, 31 Cucumber Hill Road. Their mailing address, however, because their front property line is in the town of Foster, and because U.S. Postal Service delivers from the closest post office, is 127 Cucumber Hill Road in Foster. And you can see that address further down on the Killenly database. There is a mailing address and a location address. The location address is in Connecticut. The billing address, due to the U.S. Postal Service's, the way they deliver things, is in Foster. It's equally clear, as their house is in Connecticut, it's equally clear to all of us that their mailbox is in Foster. Mail is delivered in rural areas by the closest and most convenient post office. The regional school, Pontiac High School, is not located in North Situate, Rhode Island, but that's their mailing address. They're located in Gloucester. Your location doesn't change because your mailing address has changed. It does not change the fact that the home is in Connecticut. The Rhode Island Board of Elections does make use of the word domicile or address in their rules. This has led to some ambiguity within the rules. Title 17, which I do have a copy of, I can give you that if you're interested. Person's domicile. Person's residence for voting purposes is his or her fixed and established domicile. The determinant of one's domicile is a person's actual existence, actual physical presence in the voting district on a regular basis, incorporating an intention to reside for an indefinite period. There is no intention on the part of the Sheldons to reside in the town of Foster. They purchased a home that's over the line in Connecticut. Title 17 does allow for exceptions, and they're enumerated. Employment outside of the state in connection with military operations. If you're in the military station in Afghanistan, and you're there for 2 years, your residence is still in the town of Foster. If you're a college student that's taking classes in California, living in a dorm for 4 years, your residence is still in the town of Foster. Those are transient type of examples. People who've left the town for a small, short, temporary period of time and intends to return. There's no intent to return to the town of Foster. So all of the prima facie evidence that the state is asking for to support these temporary situations, this doesn't apply to them because it's not a temporary situation. It's a permanent home located in a permanent location across the state line. So the law Title 17 does have some application for those people in the military, in college, in a nursing home or a convalescent home, incarcerated. It gives those 4 specific examples. And purchasing a house in another town is not one. They're all temporary. The Rhode Island Constitution, Article 2, suffrage, and that's your third piece of documentation that you have there. I need to find this piece of paper. Clearly states, every citizen of the United States at the age of 18 years or older who has had residence and home in this state for 30 days next preceding the time of voting, who has resided 30 days in the town or city from which such citizen desires to vote, and whose name shall be registered at least 30 days next preceding the time of voting as provided by law, shall have the right to vote for all offices, to be elected, and on all questions submitted to the electors. I put forth to you today that the Rhode Island Constitution is very clear. Article 2 on suffrage. Every citizen of the United States who has had residence and home in this state shall have the right to vote for all offices. Well, they have not had residence and home in this state. It's very clear. It's very clear by the map. Title 17 allows you to classify residents based on specific reasons. I don't believe they're away at college. I don't believe they're incarcerated. I don't believe any of those things apply to the residents on Cucumber Hill Road. As such, any state law is subsequent and subservient to the Constitution of the state of Rhode Island. The Constitution of the state of Rhode Island says residents and home in this state shall have the right to vote. There is not residence and home in this state. Therefore, they do not have the right to vote in this state under the Constitution of the state of Rhode Island. Therefore, not having the right to vote in the state of Rhode Island, they don't have the right to be candidates in the state of Rhode Island. It's nothing to do with the individuals. They just don't live in Foster. I know you've taken an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state of Rhode Island. If you apply logic to this case, you can only find it in my favor. If you apply common sense, you can only find it in my favor. The only way to rule against my objection is to enforce a rule that's ambiguous, that doesn't have application to the case, and is in direct contravention to the Rhode Island State Constitution. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Powell.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Yes, Mr. Sabata.
I want to thank you for allowing me to speak, because I tried to do this 2 years ago. 8 years ago, the school committee of Foster took Becky Gervasio, who lives on Jenks Road, in the same instance, because the state line has never been fixed for 300 years, but that's besides the point. We said she didn't live in town, only her mailbox was in town, and we did not want to have her children go to school. And we only did it somewhat for the reason Mr. Lewis is doing, and that was a clarification, okay? And we went to court, and we got our brains beat out, because where you live is where your mailbox is. Where your mailbox is where you get your driver's license. This was all court. It's not verbatim, and in bring what we got. Where your driver's license is where you vote. And that's the ambiguity, all right? This is also one of the, we're a home rule charter, okay? So what we do by home rule charter, you are allowed to uphold the Constitution, but deal the way you want to. And in this case, Cucumber Hill Road, Jenks Road, this goes all the way up and down the state, Exeter, West Greenwich. The line not being